Hi kids! So for today's video, I'm going to show you how I make my shrimp boil. I also use this recipe when I'm doing a seafood boil. So I'm cooking today because we're having a Friendsmas potluck dinner with some of my coworker turned friends. They all seem to love this dish and they actually asked me for my recipe, so that's why I'm making this video. For this recipe, aside from shrimp, I'm using corn and potatoes. So here I am just peeling and preparing my corn. I'm getting rid of all the husk and the hairs. I bought this at a local farmer's market and I like buying the ones that are still in the husk because I think that they're a lot more juicier and sweeter. Then for the shrimp, I'm using fresh shrimp with the heads still on. I think it's just more flavorful that way. I've tried this recipe using deshelled shrimp and the frozen kind, and I think it's just not that good. So I used the fresh kind, but unfortunately you have to clean it yourself. So here I am just trimming and deveining, just trimming off the beard and their tiny legs, just so that they're easier to eat. The easy part of this recipe is the cooking. The prep is the tedious part. So for an entire kilo of shrimp, I think it took me about 20 minutes to devein and trim all of them. Then I'm just going to marinate them in some lemon lime soda. So I'm using Sprite today. And while that marinates, I'm gonna prep the rest of my veggies. I'm using baby potatoes and I like to have them with the skin on. So to clean them, I just brush them with an unused sponge just to get all the dirt off the skin. Next thing I prepped is the garlic. I use a lot of garlic for this recipe, so I think I used a whole bulb. Then I just gave them a quick mince, and this is what I add to the sauce of my shrimp boil. I use a lot of garlic for this recipe. Next, I just wedged a few lemons. I actually did this before I chopped my garlic. I quartered them so that the lemons don't taste garlicky. So for this recipe, I used 2 lemons. One to add to the actual boil and one to have on the side. So I also use them as garnish. Next, I cut up my corn into smaller pieces. Not very safely, I might add. I'm sure there's a safer way to do this, but am I gonna learn it? I don't think so. This is how I've always cut them. It's not the safest way, but it is the easiest way for me. Once I've prepped all my veggies and shrimp, I'm going to start on my sauce. I start out with 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then I add in the oil just so my butter doesn't burn. So for a kilo of shrimp, I use 2 sticks of butter. I know that seems quite a lot, but this is what really makes for a great seafood boil sauce. Needless to say, this isn't the most healthiest of recipes, but if you're looking to cook this, I don't think you're gonna be that health conscious anyway. I do this dish only for special occasions, so it's not an everyday kind of thing. Anyway, I just wait for my butter to melt, and once it's all melted down and it starts bubbling, I add in my minced garlic and then wait for it to kind of simmer up again before I add in my spice blend. I have my own spice blend for the sauce, which I just mixed it in a little bit of hot water so that the spices don't clump together. I have put up the spices I used on the screen, but I don't really have an exact measurement. I kind of eyeballed everything. So I mix it all in the butter until it bubbles up again and becomes golden brown. Once the sauce is done, I load up my shrimp into my humble little pot and I cook it in the same lemon lime soda marinade, and then I squeeze in a few lemon wedges. This is just to get that fishy taste off of the shrimp, and I just let that simmer before I add in the same spice blend to the boiling water. And I do this on very low heat because shrimp tends to overcook quickly. and then I give it a little mix so that the spices, the marinade, and the lemons just fuse into the shrimp. Then finally, I start assembling it all together in a big foil pan. I assemble my potatoes that I just boiled in salt water. I boiled them until they were fork tender, and then I added my shrimp and I added my corn that I also boiled in water with just a little bit of salt, and I boiled them until they were nicely plump and bright yellow, and then I add in the sauce, and I do this by layers. So this is the first layer, and I just give it a good mix before I add in the rest of the potatoes, corn, and shrimp. So I give it a little bit of a toss so that everything gets coated into the sauce, and you can actually put some sauce in a separate bowl for dipping, but I figured I wouldn't do that today. Usually I do when I'm at home and preparing this for my family. So this is it. This is the shrimp boil, and usually I add lemons on top just so we have it on the side for later. And I do all this right after I cook my shrimp while everything else is still hot, so that the shrimp and the corn, they don't shrivel up. And I do this when I'm like ready to leave for the party or when I'm ready to serve. And that's it. That's my shrimp boil. So to my friends, I hope you try making this. Let me know what you think.